We'll now take a look at the Brentwood School District at that time, 1938. This is the original building at the Elroy School. We'll now see the original Moore School building. Here are children entering into the Moore School building. Here's the original high school building as built starting in 1932. Here are the children coming into the Moore School building from Elton Avenue entrance. We'll see in a moment the longtime custodian at Moore School, Mr. Harry Graper, who will appear shortly at the extreme left of our picture, wearing a cap. You see Mr. Graper there. Here we will see the tools of learning as used in 1938. The 3 R's were in vogue at that time: reading, writing, and arithmetic. We see classes here in all the 3 subjects. The little girl to the right is Patty Weitzel, now reciting. It is difficult to identify many of these pupils because of the silent film that was used at that time. A great deal of emphasis was placed on spelling in the schools in 1938. Children were given a dramatic experience even in the elementary school at this time. Here we see a group of children practicing a play at the Moore School building. Can you identify yourself on any of these pictures? Visual aids were used in the teaching of arithmetic. The second boy on his knees in front of the door there happens to be Jimmy Weaver, who later became superintendent of the Upper St. Clair school system. The tall boy in the picture happens to be one of the Schwartz boys. The little girl sitting there in the middle was Beverly Justice. This is a writing class. Pupils were given a great deal of experience in writing at that particular time, and the Spencerian system was used in all of the elementary schools. The little girl in the front with the long braids is little Dolly Reed. We see a face there that's familiar, one of the Weaver boys. The tall girl to the left is Darlene Spots. Teacher in this class was Miss Edna Snellsire, who taught writing, arithmetic, and spelling. Miss Snellsire taught for a number of years at the Elroy School building. We may get a shot or two here of a pupil that we can identify for you. This young man with the pointer is Ralph Zonheiser, whose father taught for a number of years in the Carrick school system. The young man with the pointer in this particular picture is Elroy Hubbard, Dr. Goodpaster, the school doctor. Dr. Goodpaster was not only the school doctor, he was also president of the Board of Education. In this picture we can identify a young man right to your right. That is George Radosevich, who is now a teacher in the Brentwood High School. There we see him again, lining up for medical inspections. We had a school milk program at that time. Children could buy a half pint of milk for about 4 cents at that time. It was delivered every morning, mid-morning, to children throughout the elementary schools. Mr. McDonald, the first principal of the Brentwood High School. Dr. Goodpaster. In front of Dr. Goodpaster is Miss Alice Lesker, who was the first secretary of the Brentwood High School. This young lady, I believe, is Jean Weaver. Another repeat here of Alice Lesker. This young lady is Elvira Gillespie. Children here are performing a toothbrush drill and will be inspected here by their teacher, Miss Lillian Thomas, at the Moore School. Tooth inspections were part of the dental hygiene program at that time. Children were awarded stars if they had clean teeth for a week. Brentwood was very fortunate in having one of the first dental hygiene programs in the state of Pennsylvania. This program was brought about by the Parent-Teacher Association at Elroy School, who purchased some used dental equipment and placed them in the school for their use. A short time later, the school board saw fit to employ a full-time dental hygienist, who was Miss Ida Mae Stilley, as we see here in this picture. Miss Stilley was a very famous person later on, operating a television program for children's dental health in the Pittsburgh area. And later on, after she left the Brentwood system, after some 11 or 12 years, she became the senior hygienist in the city of Pittsburgh. Physical education in the Brentwood schools was taught in the first 2 grades by their homeroom teachers, as we see here. Group of children taking a little stroll at Moore School. These are children at Elroy School playground under the supervision of their own classroom teacher. I believe this teacher would be Miss Klein. Here a group of the boys in a physical education class taught by a special physical education teacher who happened to be myself at that particular time. Here we see the boys taking a drill. Marching was used at this particular time to get instant results to a command, and it also gave the children good exercise and fine training at that particular time. Here we're going on to the playground for some dancing exercise by the girls, as we see here. A change of classes, one group leaving the playground, another one coming down here. This boy here in the striped shirt is Kenneth Esky, who is now a famous reporter from Washington, D.C. That is my little son there in the front, Jimmy. Miss Twyla Mae Sefton, who taught the girls